For the speed networking part of it and stuff, we just want you to go around quickly and just say your name and the name of your business, and just in one sentence, what it is that your business's vision is, what your business's goal is. So, Mark, if you'd like to start.
My name is Mark Elkins, and the telephone number for me is 630-372-8800. I am in the hope business. I help people get hope about being able to retire, being able to have enough money, being able to stay in their home, about being able to have safe, affordable housing. The hope business as it relates to real estate.
My name is Erin McElroy, and I'm in the process of starting my own business, working for myself. So ErinKMac.com, I suppose, is my business. And my vision is inspiring and guiding personal transformation through the lens of nature, adventure, and travel.
Cool.
I'm Joanne McElroy, and my business is spiritual companioning, and my vision is to connect people with their spirit in their life, not just outside of it, but within their whole life.
Nice. Teresa Lecon, Executive Virtual Assistant, 219-678-1126. I guess my vision is to help business owners and organizations get to what they need to so that they can accomplish and enjoy their own life vision.
My name is Barb Hollick, and I'm with Dove Chocolate Discovery, so I make people smile with chocolate, whether it's filling your pantry or filling your bank account.
My name is Miriam Irie, New Achievements Elite Coaching. I empower women to transition through midlife with clarity, purpose, and inner peace.
My name is Donna Sawicki, and my business is Simply Donna Designs. And my vision is to empower positive thoughts and inspiration through my designs.
Misty Reynolds. I actually work for an accountant who is a part of your network. My life vision is definitely just to make an impact on anyone's life, whether it's business, personal, whatever I can do, whether it's to make them smile or just help them, achieve their life vision. That's what I want to do. So.
Bruce?
Hello, I'm Bruce Breichel. I'm with Vision Integrated Graphics and Market Specialties, and I develop marketing materials, systems of generating leads, and so forth.
My name is Kevin King with Healthcare Solutions Team. I help people get health insurance they can afford.
I'm Karen Carlson. I have multiple businesses. So my goal is really to educate people and see the benefits of all of the businesses that I have, which is either massage therapy or energy consulting, or I also have an EVA business. So there's lots of things that I do, and there's lots of benefits for any of those. So.
Katrina?
I'm Katrina Boersma. I work for Synergy Solutions doing marketing for them and also helping run this event. So.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
When everybody came in, you should have gotten a puzzle piece, one tiny little puzzle piece. And so, did you get one, Donna?
Yeah.
Okay. And so what I'd like you to sort of bear in mind as you have this in front of you during the different segments today is, what is the piece that you will get out of today that you can put into your puzzle of your business? What's the piece that this will fill, that something that you hear today or see today will fill a piece of your business and help to complete the picture of your business? So at the end of the day, I'd like to circle back around to that and ask you what piece you heard or saw today that will help to insert that piece into your business and help complete the picture.
Awesome. That's cool. So that leads right into the next segment, which is wins and biggest challenges. Okay, so here are the segments. We had the speed networking. We got those pieces down. Now it's wins and biggest challenges. It's right here on the top of your page. Just turn it over. And then we're going to get into the BOS system, the BOSS system. It's the business operating system. And we're going to talk about the DNA of people, the DNA of business and the DNA of life, the DNA of people. Misty's going to take that, the DNA of business, that's going to be Mark Elkins, the DNA of life. Bruce Brankel's going to start, I will finish, and then we're going to get into a time of Q&A. And then we're going to talk about what's going on for next month. So when Karen says, what's the piece of the puzzle that's missing for you in your business, you're going to find the solution in one of these 7 segments. Maybe it was somebody here in the speed networking. Maybe it's what you get from Wins and Biggest Challenges. Maybe it's in the boss system. Maybe it's in the Q&A at the end after you've heard all the segments. And maybe it's what's going to happen next month as well. Okay? Wins and Biggest Challenges. Karen.
All right, thank you. If you've been here before, this Wins and Biggest Challenges will probably be a little different. Different is good. Different is good sometimes. Everybody loves to win, whether we're winning in our business, whether we're winning in our personal life. We're kind of hardwired to want to win, and we've been programmed for that. Recently, I circled back and revisited a CD set that I had been to a workshop several years ago, and just sort of pulled it out, and you know how you just listen to it again while you're driving. And that series is by Clemmer & Associates, which is another personal growth, personal improvement organization. And I really grabbed a hold of one of the pieces that I heard in that, and that is kind of my win, and that I wanted to share with you, and hopefully it will have some value for you. The piece that I'd like to start with is, in regards to your biggest challenge, you know, who can help you to generate a win to help to counter what you perceive as a biggest challenge? You know, sort of like we went back to the piece. How do you perceive that challenge, and how can you execute a methodology to help to reverse that? So think about that, and then, like I said, we'll come back to that later. The first part that I'd like to talk about is resentment. How many of us have experienced resentment around something or someone in our life? What does that feel like? What does it evoke within you physiologically when you resent something? Is it anger? Does it look like procrastination? Does it look like carelessness? Does it look like I'm just going to bury myself in work or something because I have resentment around something that has happened, what I perceive as to me? So I'd like to start out by giving a definition of resentment, just so that we're all on the same page as what, the way that I'm referring to it. So resentment is any emotional reaction we view as negative to what we think was said or done. So again, any emotional reaction we view as negative to what we think was said or done. Okay? Like I said, it may look like defensiveness. It may look like upset. But it's also a part of life. I mean, probably I would venture to say everyone in this room has experienced resentment towards something, and also have felt the resentment from another person maybe towards us. The question is, what happens next? After you're aware of resentment, what happens next? What do we do with that? So the next piece is resistance. So if you're sensing that resentment, do you then move into resistance? And resistance is really putting up a wall. It's really shutting ourselves off or cutting off communications as a result of that resentment or perceived, whatever that situation is. So that is, how we see that. It could look like I said, procrastination. That's resistance to something, is we're just not going to do it. I'm just not doing it. It could be confusion around something, because we're really just not clear about it. Like I said, it could be burying yourself in work and just totally, overwhelming yourself so that you don't have to look at it or think about it. You distract yourself. So that's a form of resistance, is distraction. How are you distracted from whatever that situation might have been? We shut down emotionally is another way that we resist. We just kind of, okay, I'm not going to think about that. You know, I'll be Scarlett O'Hara. I'll think about that tomorrow. So how is it that we resist? What is it that is our habit that we resist a resentment or something? So I have an example of these concepts, and so I would like 2 volunteers to come up.
Mark?
Okay, Mark.
Me?
Yes.
Okay, Donna. Okay, so come over here. So I'm going to have you stand facing one another. Okay, now you're going to have to hold hands. Okay, so just hold left hand to left, no, just one hand.
Oh.
So right hand to right hand.
Okay.
No, right hand to right hand. Okay, raise it up. Just, okay. So now the goal is, how many times in 30 seconds can you get your hand to his shoulder, and how many times can he get his hand to your shoulder? Okay?
How many times?
So that's the goal. How many times can you get your hand to her shoulder, or how many times can she get her hand to your shoulder? Okay? So 30 seconds, go ahead.
So we have to go. And I'm counting though.
10, 20.
Okay, good, good. All right, so what did you see happen here?
They cooperate.
Cooperation.
Right.
They got closer.
This was a win-win.
Right.
So there wasn't resistance here. Many times when people do this exercise, they're going to struggle to get my hand there, and if the other person is resisting, you're not going to accomplish your goal very many times. So Mark really got the concept of win-win, of really cooperating with Donna and having that manifest itself. Both of them accomplished their objective and their goal many more times than if you were struggling. So hopefully that gives you a kind of an animated example of what I'm really talking about as far as the resistance part of it. Does that make sense? Any questions around that? Okay, thank you. Thank you.
So my question is this, that was a good exercise, I like that. So how can we apply that in our lives to overcome our biggest challenges?
You know, when it comes to, I was going to tie this back to generating more and better leads.
Great.
So looking at this from the perspective of how do I create that win-win? We can't always give. We can't always be the one that gives. We also want to receive, or we wouldn't be in business. We wouldn't be business owners if we didn't want to receive business.
Right.
But we also need to see it from the perspective of giving business, and that's, yes, Donna?
Well, I just, on that question, because you just made me realize something, is the first thing would be recognizing it. Because even like how you were saying, I'll deal with it. So, I mean, I just realized things that, it made me think of things that I'm doing. So just recognizing it is like the first thing, and then be like, oh, wait, am I putting up a wall here? Am I resisting this? And then you can...
The awareness is absolutely the very first step, I think, in changing anything, is being aware that you're exhibiting resistance, and you're resisting against a situation or a person or an event, or, is it in our home when we maybe have an argument or we're disciplining a child and we get all worked up. And that child goes out and they play and they're having fun, and it's 2 hours later, and are we still upset about that? And so, yes, Mark?
In this exercise, I decided that when you said how many times, that I was going to yield and just let her and move her hand over to my shoulder, right? Sometimes it happens that I'm in business and I'm taking care of the customer, and I yield, shoulder, right hand to my shoulder, and now they're going to resist. So they've taken, but there's no
Reciprocal.
Reciprocation, right.
Right.
So now what?
Well, and that's the point where you evaluate the relationship. You evaluate that, whether it's a personal or a business relationship. You know, there's always times in life when we're going to give and we're not always going to get back equally. You know, it isn't necessarily that the scales have to remain equally balanced. You can look at it over a lifetime of how much do I give and how much do I receive. So it isn't kind of a tit for tat attitude where it's like, well, I gave you a referral, I gave you a lead, I gave you some business, what are you going to give me? You can't always see it in a closed way of one for one. Does that make sense?
Yeah. You know, and I don't because I'm in the service business, I'm in the hope business, right? So I will read people who, they want hope so bad, they're just going to take as much as I can offer, and eventually I get something back, right? And I don't need an equivalent amount
Okay.
in return,
Okay.
but I need some in order to continue offering.
Right. And, you know, just like I said, we're all in business because we want to survive as a business owner. Miriam?
I think the mindset has to be that we can't expect, and it's hard, but we can't expect something in return for what we're giving. Because if we have that mindset, it never happens. There is an ebb and a flow, but it's also, I think, being comfortable enough and authentic with oneself to have the conversation with someone where we feel that it's constantly we're giving, and yet we don't want to say to that person, what are you going to give me back in return? It's just how do you create that win-win situation? And most people don't know how to create a win-win situation. I think we talk about it. It's like the new, what I call the new lexicon, win-win. But what does that really look like? And I think to have strong relationships with clients, that has to be part of the conversation. What can we do together to create a win-win situation? What does that really look like?
I think when we look at the win-win, it's more of the fact of creating trust.
Yeah.
It's creating trust
Yeah.
in the relationship and trusting the other person that we're in a business or a personal
Right, and I just had this
relationship with.
conversation with a client this morning on creating this win-win situation, and I asked her, what does that look like for you working with me? And she said, oh my gosh, no one's ever asked me that question before. I've never had a person or a coach ask me that question, and she said, I have to really think about that. So I think I timed it, there was silence on the phone for 5 minutes. Because I think it's a really important question to ask, so that I, as a coach, know what it is she needs from me in order for her to be successful in what it is she's looking to achieve.
And sometimes also when we look at resistance from an exercise point of view, the resistance is where we build the muscle. The resistance is the stage where we build the muscle. And so being aware of the resistance, you know, I think becomes very important. Donna, you had something else you wanted to say?
Just to build on that, I think that's totally right. And I think if you are focused on thinking, okay, what am I going to get back? In a way, you already have resentment there because you're already focused on what am I going to get back. When what you get back might not be from that exact person. I think you're right too, where you have to look at the bigger picture. Even in the concept of pay it forward, it's like you've had a random person come up to you. I mean, I've had somebody in the checkout line be like, oh, you know, randomly pass on a or something that you're like, and sometimes we just like, we're thankful, but then we don't really realize things are being given back to us. So just because it's not that particular client, if you are giving in the free mindset and not expecting, you know, and then you will be paid back. Maybe not with that person.
Well, let's add some practical reality to this question, okay? I have, for example, a tenant. She's got kids. She works at a factory job, right? She's getting a regular paycheck. She's been at this factory 6 or 7 years. She comes up with the deposit and the down payment and the rent, moves into my place, pays the rent the next month, and now has a layoff. Now, she cannot pay the rent, but I know for several months she's been paying. I know I've checked her references. She's got a good job for a long time. Okay, you know what? Pay what you can now, catch up next month. The following month, she works for 2 weeks or 3 weeks so the company doesn't have to give her benefits or cuts off the unemployment, and they do it to her again. She's working 3 weeks a month. So now she's short every month. And now she's behind a month. And now she's behind 2 months. And then she can't pay it all. Now I have costs. I have maintenance, I have taxes, I have mortgage. How long do I give before I have to
Well, and
say
there's no black
it's
and
enough?
white
Well,
answer
but
for
it-
that.
Right.
you know.
Right, there's no black and white, but if she's working 3 months out of the, 3 weeks out of the month, can her rent be prorated? So that at least you're getting something every month.
Well, my
And maybe
expenses don't go down,
No, I
and
understand.
neither do hers.
But
So
I
for
think
the
in that
example-
win-win situation, sometimes we have to, there has to be an offset.
There does.
There has to be, I think
Yeah.
sometimes we just have to be really flexible and comfortable in ourselves that we may not necessarily get everything we want, but if we can maintain an authentic relationship with that other person and they see that we're trying to work with them, it may not come back the way you said. It may not come back the
It
way.
might not look like what
And
we
it may
think it
not
would
come
look
back
like.
the way we want it to or we think, but it always, always comes back.
I'm just going to jump to Erin, and I'm probably like having expired my time that
No,
I
no,
was
you're
supposed to
fine.
be
You're
talking.
fine,
so I
this is
don't-
good. This is okay.
Erin, you had something that you wanted to say?
Well, I was just curious in this particular situation, or actually, the question was before this example, but is the person who is taking it at the moment, are they seeing that as hope? Like, are they having the experience on the value level? Or are they just seeing it as like, oh my God, I'm so desperate for money, or I really need these things, and seeing it on the transactional level, like, thank God this guy is giving me a break and helping me, but are they experiencing it on the, so you see yourself as giving this a value of hope, and I'm wondering if the person is experiencing the value or just the transaction.
I can't know. It's intangible,
And that's a
right?
good question. And once again, you know, when we come back to the idea of resentment and resistance, it's being aware of those elements. And the key part of that is, if you're resisting against someone, so if I have my, if I have my hand and I'm trying, if I'm resisting against him, he actually has control over me because I'm not relinquishing. Not that you always have to give in, but it's, going back and forth, the give and the take. If I'm resisting, he has control. If I give, he doesn't have control anymore. So who has control? How do you perceive that control? How do you perceive whatever the resentment is and the resistance as well? So, kind of wrap that up. One of the pieces that I'll just bring back around is Stephen Covey's book, The Eighth Habit. He says, if you know and don't do, you don't know. So if you know and you don't do, you don't know. So what now do you know that you didn't know before maybe? And what will you do with what you know? So that kind of was the wins and biggest challenge. So for me, the win was kind of circling back and reviewing an old CD series that I had, and the value that created for me in my awareness of how I am resentful sometimes, how I'm resisting against something, and how I'm giving control to another person by resisting and what that looks like for everybody. So, thank you.
Thank you. And you know, there's no easy, quick solutions to any one problem. That's a great question to write down, and that's something that, you know, perhaps is an ongoing thing. What does a win-win look like in that situation? You know, what is the piece of the puzzle for you in that situation? What's the piece of the puzzle that we can all learn from that situation? Because we can look at it as Mark's issue or Donna's issue or whatever, but to say, wait a sec, there's something else here that I can apply and maybe I can help with as well.
Well, in this particular case, I had a good solution and it worked out. And we eventually had, you know, everything was taken care of.
Good.
I wanted to throw it in here because
Yeah.
I thought that everybody was speaking kind of Shangri-La, you know,
So
give and take.
So you're giving a practical example. Right. So maybe my solution doesn't work for somebody. Maybe I can refer them to somebody else whose solution it can refer. You know, maybe somebody else has the solution to that. One of the things that occurred to me was maybe there's another apartment rental area that would be that's okay with that. Maybe, you know, I don't know. Maybe there was, you know, maybe there's another option. Maybe family members can help out. Maybe something else can, I don't know. But yeah,
I always look for those, so yeah.
practical, concrete examples are important. So that's good.
I said hire her.
Hire them.
Hire her.
There you go.
She'll have steady income.
Interesting.
There's a